I don't know who keeps smoking in here. There's no smoking in here, but it's like we got a couple
cigarette right over here. What do you mean?
All right, Nino, do you mind...
There's another one over there, too, and another one over there.
Do you mind, Nino, if we record this conversation?
I don't know what this is in regards to, but we can start, and then depending on, where it goes,
of course. If you
we'll
wanted
go
to
from
stop
there.
it, I could, yeah. All right. Can you state your name for the recording, please?
Nino Chavez.
All right, Nino. Also present is Officer Westler Kane, badge number 600. Sergeant Opal Price, badge number 465. Captain Haley Maxwell, badge number 238. And Chief Wyatt Turner, badge number 209. It is currently 2051 GMT on the 19th of June. All right, Nino, for the recording, and because I'm going to be asking you questions, I am going to read you your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to have an attorney present prior to or during any questioning if you wish. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided to you by the state if available. Do you understand the rights I've just read to you?
I do. What crime is this in regards to?
So it's just an investigation right now. I just have a few simple questions.
Yeah, absolutely. What am I being charged with?
Sure. Nothing.
Why are you Mirandizing me?
Because we're having a conversation on the record, and I want to make sure you're informed of your rights.
You know the Miranda is meant for pushing. Do you know what the Miranda is for?
I do. It's to advise a individual of their rights if they are in any form of custodial questioning. Right now, you are at our police station, which you voluntarily came to answer questions.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a room with police officers who are going to ask you questions about an active investigation.
Okay. Is that active investigation? Am I a subject of that criminal activity?
At this time, no.
Okay. So here's the problem, right? Having Mirandized me, I have an idea what this is in regards to, but now you're putting me into a position where I am willfully giving you information which, if you guys bastardize said investigation, you are opening me up for litigation. So,
I can appreciate that position.
All right, so let's start by turning off the recording.
Sure.
All right.
At this time, the recording will be paused. 20:54 hours GMT, June 19th.
Yeah. All right. So let's keep this a little bit. Number one, we'll keep this off the record. I need to know what this is in regards to, right?
This would be in regards to the terror attacks from the League of Evil.
I see.
Additional matter.
Okay. All right. Let's start with figuring out what it is that you want from me, and then I'll tell you what I'm comfortable putting out there.
Sure.
Some of the individuals around this room understand that I'm not trying to become I'm not trying to get added to a target list, and I don't want to be the primary subject by which this investigation ends up holding to, because that not only risks my life, but also you're going to have trouble transparently being able to pin everything onto the things that I say. So I can lead you to the well, and there may be some things that I'd be willing to say in court.
So let me try to make you a little more comfortable with this. So essentially, the investigation's been going on, as you know, for a considerable length of time.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for from you is confirmation of essentially some small details that we already have evidence of. As you were involved in these details,
let's get right to the point.
I just want to confirm.
Let's start with formality.
Sure.
You're wondering whether Princess is involved in the League of Evil. Yes, I've pointed out a number of times. I've got an inside person that has not only identified her, but also Ursula. They go by code names. Ursula's pretty blatant about it. Just about 4 days ago, there was, and I've got the photos of all of this. I think it was last Friday, Ursula Leichenberg, who is the individual that altered DNA for a lifer, and subsequently was not had any charges pressed against her, and
that is incorrect.
entered. Did she?
She had charges pressed against her. She had a lengthy warrant, however, was able to outrun it by hiding in houses, completely changing her appearance, and the simple fact that I can't do anything except respond to 78s and bank truck shootings.
Okay. Was added to the Blaine County Mayor's office. She does most of the, let's say, decision-making when it comes to this sort of stuff. She posted out a lookalike contest offering up $5 million, which...
was that Sunday?
The event was Sunday, yes, but the twat started going out like Friday, Saturday. The first thing that should come of note is where the fuck is she getting $5 million, let alone the county? The twats inferred and showed, and if you don't know this, you can actually get twatter subpoenas, if you so choose, if it's very needed.
Yeah, I'm already writing one for twatter, so
fantastic. Oh, it gets deeper. Don't so I hope you're making note of all this, right?
I am.
Now the advertisements were via Con Oil. Con Oil is not an entity in either of the counties. It was very blatant. And let me just fact check that real quick. Con Oil. There is no Con Oil. Oh, look at that. Eventually, the contest happens on Sunday. Now, mind you, I had been not notified about this at all. I just seen it on Twitter. Understand that Ursula and I don't have a very... She's very fuck Nino. Her and I used to fuck back in the day, right? And things went sideways. In fact, we did it on our table in the clean manner. And then fucking no one cleaned it up. Like, it was there. The stains were there for God knows how long. Every time we had fucking dinner.
Clean manner referenced in years.
Yeah. But anyways, we eventually broke up. I got bored. She got bored. Whatever. But now politically, I don't think we really see eye to eye for whatever reason it is. I mean, she's a fucking Blaina. What do you expect? But anyways, so I was already taken aback by, like, why is Ursula doing a Nino lookalike contest, right? And I figured it might have something to do with this League of Evil thing. Note that I'd pointed out to law enforcement about her involvement and Princess's involvement. It was at first, like weeks ago, more of a theory, added on to the fact that some individuals involved in the League of Evil had pointed out that Princess was paying them, and that includes the guy who tried to get a gun license over here from me and Peters a while ago. I forgot what his name is, but he does all kinds of crazy shit. He's the same guy that had the truck outside, trying to fix the potholes. Do you guys know who I'm talking about?
Is that the guy that somebody promised an island to?
Yes.
Jose Gerardo?
That's probably him. So fast forward. Okay. So now this twat's coming out, and I'm like, okay, Ursula and I don't, like, she's not going to do it out of her good graces. Maybe she's just trying to do some bozo shit, some fucking, like, whatever, like, dress up with him. And where are they getting $5 million from? Whatever. I didn't ask any questions. Sunday comes around, the day of. And I'm, like, thinking about going. People tell me, oh, there's people dressed up as Neo going around. You're going to go to it. So I end up going to it, right? And I get there and it's Yuri. It's that guy, the Gerardo. There is Wayne Freeman and a guy from the Ballers, dressed up as me. And I'm there, and there's maybe a total of 20, 25 individuals present. The judges are clowns from the look. And, you know, they do a series of bits, like questions, whatever. They then, during this, Rusty, who's a member of the League of Evil, which I'm sure everyone knows here, the city knows, tries to hold up Junior. After attempting to hold him up, you know, squad goals, pretty much everybody that was not a clown or of League of Evil member ends up pulling out weapons, clapping Rusty, holding everybody up and getting us out of there. So it was pretty blatant what was happening. Once I had arrived and saw who was present, and given the reaction where 70% of the crowd pretty much tried to figure out what six they wanted to bring, and then people just started pulling out weapons, and it got pretty crazy. We got escorted out. I got a call from Ruby. I told her what happened. I'm like, you know, League of Evil people tried to do some dumb shit, and people tried to protect the office, mayoral office, and boom, boom. Yeah.
All right. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Mirror Park Dam incident. Did you get texts from Princess Elena? The date would have been the 18th of May.
I believe it was like, what's going on? I didn't tell her because she's a fucking faucet. Give me a sec. I have to double check exactly. I mean, you should know the answer to this. Unfortunately, let me see. It doesn't say dates. What was that? Like a month ago, right?
Yeah, almost exactly a month ago.
Most of everything that I tell Princess for the past 2 months is nothing. Because 99% of her subjects all come back to, I need money for my shit. And it's frustrating, it's annoying, and I hope she gets run over by a train at some point. Usually the way that those conversations go is like she starts them and I sort of just like professionally deflect away, because sharing that information with her, which I've caught her out on, is dangerous. I'm going to cite an example. The DOJ was sending money to the pursuit team. Turner, you probably remember when that conversation first was brought up.
I do.
Was inherently illicit because the DOJ as an entity should not be providing money to anybody. It's like a super PAC, right? And it's worse than that because they inherently have to oversee civil and criminal matters. So by giving money to any entity, there becomes an inherent bias. And this is a subject that we have spoken in lengths about 2 months back, in which, for the very same reasons I didn't want to, when Barrett came to me and he's like, marshals don't have money, I told him I'm not going to directly give it to you because I would then be buying you out. And even if you guarantee that's not going to be the case, that's bullshit, right? Like, you're still going to have that in the back of your mind. You're going to act differently, etc. And so the agreement and what I got everyone to do is that we divvied up the Marshall bill. And that's fundamentally how in the event the pursuit team needed money, we would have to do the same thing. Same thing with the DOC, which we have not come to an agreement on for whatever reason because they're lazy as shit. I don't know why they're not sending us a request, but they haven't. So when I told Princess about this money transferring, I told her explicitly, and mind you, I was already planning on telling the relative parties, but I figured I'd use it as a test. So I told her, and only her, that about $5 million had been transferred to the pursuit team, was not allowed, and not for her not to share with anyone because it was a concern of my office and her office and the way that financials are conducted, and to let me cook. 12 hours go by, and I wake up the next morning, and Princess has already told the entire fucking world and has turned it into, well, if the DOJ can give money to the pursuit team, then maybe they can give me all kinds of money too. And that maybe for every dollar that the PD gets, so should the counties. What I'm underlining here is that she is a not only a untrustable source, but she does not compute anything other than how does this get me money.
Right. So, do you recall? I know you were looking there. Her texting you something to the effect of, "Are you okay?" During the Mirror Park incident.
Was that the Mirror Park incident, or was that the airplane incident?
It should. I don't believe it's the airplane. It should be the Mirror Park.
Okay. Yeah. I vaguely remember something like that.
And then you said something about a government email you sent. In that email, did it say anything about League of Evil or who was perpetrating the attack?
I can read you that email directly. This was so. Given the situation that had transpired, I immediately contacted Opal because I don't really trust anyone else to take it seriously. Because there is no ping associated to it. Opal came through. We sort of discussed a state of emergency situation, given that there was the alleged planting of C4 on the dam, and then later the casino, the courthouse, etc. I spoke directly with Faulkner on the matter because I believe that, you know, if the dam has a bomb put on it, it's not investigation is important, but so is safety of individuals. And if that that dam does break, it's going to flood everything. And so the email that was sent out is as follows. Give me a sec. You shouldn't have Mirandized me. We could have gotten all this on recording, by the way. Looks like maybe dividing the targets now. Okay, there is currently a situation that may require a state of emergency and or state announcement. Any justices available? Faulkner comes in. I then gave I did a copyright for the state announcement, which read, "For your safety, Mirror Park, the sewers, the canals, and the underground train station should be evacuated due to the risk of immediate and violent flooding. Please find safety away from these areas until the situation subsides, followed by any attempt to enter these areas will be at your own risk. Doing so will be putting your own life at risk of death willfully. A follow-up announcement, blah, blah, blah." So it was mostly copyright, but there was enough there to ascertain that there was a state of emergency. So, but it did not have any details.
Did it strike you as odd that she texted you, "I know, and I think I know who did it. I should have taken the League of Evil seriously"?
No, because at that stage I already had suspicion.
Okay. So you kind of felt it was like a confirmation of what you thought. Perfect.
Correct.
Okay.
Also, after they had gotten put into custody, Helen Highwater, dumbass, so when we were at the dam, I had radio access for a number of reasons.
Yeah, you were on the hill above me. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Helen Highwater, who had attached towards the end, started questioning the entire operation. And you might remember this. That, quite frankly, pissed me off because it doesn't matter if it's like police related or what it is. There's a situation happening that you are not appraised of, and your dumbass is coming in and giving a 2 cents, which is going to, especially as a sergeant, have people start questioning whether the orders that are given are the right ones or not. You know what I mean? It's let's just leave it at it's brain dead. But whatever. But it got worse in that upon them getting into custody, Helen twatted out shit about terrorism. I remember bringing that up. I'm like, that's fucking absolutely idiotic. Because like, what the fuck? It's literally an investigation. I remember she
Did
also
you document that twat by chance?
Yep.
Would you be willing to send me a copy of that?
Sure. It's got timestamp too. I'll do that afterwards. Just let me know like what you need me to do afterwards. Just make note of it.
Will do.
You know
and
what's
then
great?
In terms, go ahead.
Force Factors creatine gummies. You know, creatine is so ass taking like, you know, mixing it in because it tastes like sand water. But there's these creatine gummies and it's got your creatine, but it tastes like gummies. It's amazing. It's only 5 calories too. 40 calories, but for 3.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Good. Serving size 5. Why have I only been eating 3? What the fuck?
You brought up earlier that the League of Evil typically operates under
there's
code
more.
names.
Sorry. When they were in custody, and I think Opal knows this too, and they were being interrogated. I think it was a dam incident. Opal, you're gonna have to remind me. I think it was a dam incident. Was it the dam incident?
Was she twatted out?
The 18th was the dam incident.
There's been so many League of Evil things that I don't remember which one, but Yuri was in
I
interrogation.
tend to just get really drunk the day of Terrorism Sunday, so I can't make it on today.
Dam incident was when you were in the observation room, Nino, for Yuri's interrogation.
Oh, yeah. So Helen started asking started opening up the conversation of like, are they getting terrorism? Are we keeping them here? I don't remember the exact context, but I think it was written down by Omar, who was present. And it was very odd.
Okay.
Yep.
If you remember...
Omar would know.
If you
I believe
remember.
he's the one that received the phone call.
Oh, she called Omar?
I believe so.
Okay.
Oh, it was asking if Ember was going to end up getting terrorism.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
That was, she was asking if Ember had a warrant.
Yes. It was a very, the timing and everything was very odd, as it was very parental or very, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It was very odd. And it was around
Kinda
the same time that twat was
Extra
sent out.
chummy.
Yeah, like, sorry?
Yeah, like extra chummy, like taking care of her.
Yeah, like concern for someone that nearly, it was a concerned kind of questioning. Like, Like, we just
Okay.
got done with this whole thing, and you're like, I don't know. But Omar would have details on that.
Okay. You mentioned the code names earlier. Do you know Princess Elena's code name?
I suspect it. I don't know it. I could receive it.
What do you suspect it is?
Don't want to say, and the reason is I don't want to influence your decision making. Does that kind of make sense? I don't want to introduce.
Does it change if
confirmation
I
bias.
say I already have been told it by somebody?
You could give me 3, and
Sure, I can give you 3. Green Goof, Gray Hat, and Early Bird.
I heard a different one for the 3rd, slightly different.
Does it have a 3-letter word in front of it?
Don't remember. I'll have to confirm. Okay. Yeah. Another thing, by the way, after this recent incident that took place, I asked Rusty, where they were going to try to kidnap me, because that was the plan. The plan was to kidnap me. In fact, they told some of the attendees, I'm not going to say who. Obviously, people don't want to see me get hurt, right? And so a lot of them ensured that. But directly, these individuals were told that I was going to be kidnapped. And I got a call from Rusty, and he says, I fucked up, shouldn't have done it. And I asked him straight up, why do you keep trying to get me involved? I'm the only person that has been advocating for the sewers. Because there is a society that lives down there. While everyday person may not give a shit, I do. I see value in that, right? Because they're not a typical gang. It's not typical people, right? It's not all of them are even violent. And if they've got a society down there, especially with the housing crisis, I want to see that flourish. So why take me? He told me he understands that maybe he needs to start questioning his involvement in the League of Evil. He also noted that it was Princess Elena that had paid them, I believe, $500,000. How? I don't know. If it's true, I don't know. But it would coincide with the statements and things that were said previously.
Okay. I want to change topics a little bit. It might seem a
Sure.
little weird, but just hang in
Yeah,
there
go
with
ahead.
me. You stated earlier, Princess Elena has discussed the financials of Blaine County with you, correct?
I'm sorry?
Princess Elena has discussed the financial state of Blaine County with you?
No, because I'm aware of it. In fact,
Didn't you say earlier she's always talking about money?
yeah, but not in the way that you're thinking way too highly of the way that she discusses. She doesn't talk about, hey, this is getting spent here, no, there. She's like, oh my God, we're always in the negative. No, there's, maybe I need to hit up the governor and get him to give me money, and like, it's that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It's
Got
like,
you.
yeah, but I'm aware on more intimate details what's actually going on. And because it is a matter of concern of the state, which as mayor of Los Santos County, I have to be considerate of, right? It's not just I've looked into it. Justice Faulkner has looked into it. This stems back about 6 weeks ago, maybe, where $16 million was transferred from the DOJ to Blaine County. I originally was taken aback because as someone who has to look at the bank accounts like multiple times a day, I noticed the uptick. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? As a consequence of other matters, I noticed the $16 million transfer. I questioned the justices about it, I think Faulkner in particular, and he told me that the $16 million was intended to cover DOJ pay, which he wanted the sliders maxed out, right, for judges, attorneys, etc., which is within their purview. And I told him, that's not right. Now, mind you, I had worked with Pred in the past. I know how their sliders are. And I knew damn well that they didn't need to pay out $16 million for just justices and lawyers. The numbers don't add up. And that kind of alarmed him a bit, right? And lo and behold, that money was, let's just say, she took the $60 million and decided to do whatever the fuck she wanted with it, right? So much so that the most recent was, now obviously Faulkner's going to look into this, right? Because like, the fuck happened to the money? They gave it for something. So then came the, whatever. We took a look at the transactions, not separately, right? And lo and behold, number one, the $16 million had not been expended. Now, DOJ and her have resolved it since, in that he, I think, told her it's going to be for 6 weeks, not the 4, which apparently made her, freak out a little bit. But in those transactions, you will see that $8.5 million was utilized for the purchasing of the castle. About another $5+ million for the furnishing of it for a singular event. That puts the price of the castle at $14 to $15 million.
Also, that real quick, that event, that was for, essentially, you're saying the county paid that out for the purchasing and furnishing of the event, like it wasn't an event grant or an event subsidy.
Yeah, I think it was like a one-day Shark Tank thing. Which $5 million for the furnishing. I mean, listen. Clearly, didn't the castle was an empty grocery store, and it's now a castle. So effectively, she wrote off that the furnishing of this castle and a singular event needed $5 to $6 million, which is insane.
It's more than insane.
I think Court Center was like $1 million, right? If that. So there's probably pocketed money, God knows what, right? So now you're at, I'm going to even dial back a second, is when she took office, the Blaine County account was $49 million. You add that $16 million stipend. You add whatever stipend else came out. The account is now at about $4 million, right? So you can imagine the expenditure that took place. Now, the other thing I'll mention is it is fundamentally untrue that Blaine County needs more money. That's manufactured hocus pocus. Blaine County account has always been in a positive trajectory until she took office. Now, one could hand wave and be like, well, Petey's getting more and blah, 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 blah. That's fucking bullshit. It's just
couple questions about some of this. So, you being the mayor of Los Santos County, to you, what would qualify as purchasing infrastructure for the county?
What do you mean?
So let's say, are you familiar with the Blaine Account Authority legislation?
Yes.
Okay, so in there, it defines what you can and can't consider a valid expenditure, right?
Sure.
And the first and the second to last valid expenditures refer to purchasing infrastructure or governmental infrastructure.
That's okay. Are you saying would the castle be that infrastructure?
Sure. Would you consider the castle infrastructure for the county?
If it was actively used for the things that she ran on, for the things that she put in the transaction, if she, et cetera, sure.
Would you
but it still
consider
needs-
buying other properties and
No.
selling them at a loss, purchasing infrastructure?
No. And you're probably referencing the building that she purchased for like fucking $4 million. And let's be straight here. She's trying to do what I've been doing, right? Except we have legislation in place specifically for it, which is the Squatters Act, right? The idea that we can subsidize, but we have the equity for it. We have the money in Los Santos County. And the reason we have this much isn't because, number one, we're the city, right? We're not a fucking dust bowl. But also because we don't do gross spending. We don't spend grossly. We make sure, like, even with the material MOPAC, even with this car parts thing, the car parts stuff is inexpensive, but I'm not selling the car parts to Turner for $1 or mechanic shops for $1, right? Even the places that we purchased here, we're paying like a $1.5 million home. We paid like 2.5 mil. Sure, he gives a mil there to one guy, like extra, but we can afford that. And it's, you get what I'm saying? So it's a very different equation. She kind of just did it, but it makes it worse because we lottery, right? Which means everyone can get it. Fuck, PD guy just bought one the other day. His name? Starts with an S. Spectre, yeah. Instead, she purchased a Polito property, which that shit ain't worth shit. $4 million. Gave it to Mayhem. Whatever. The Mayhem gang. Biker crew. Fine. Whatever. She got the gas station, right? Paid $4 million to Chaos. I forgot what the name of the owner is. She then, within 48 hours, sold it to a boyfriend for a $1 million loss, $3 million. Both of those examples pertain to a direct beneficial purchase. Why? Because why would you give it to a biker crew leader? Why would you give the property to your boyfriend? Where was the opportunity for others to weigh in? What was the vetting process, right? It's very clearly a handout. So going back to purchase the gas station for $4 million, sold it directly to her boyfriend for $3 million. And then you'll notice 2 days later, that $3 million that was paid for the gas station was effectively reimbursed. You might ask yourself how. Well, a $3 million purchase was made by, a sale was made to Arthur McGuire for a Polito property. Now, Arthur is a part of Treepass, as is Benicio, right? And where this gets qualified is if we rewind back about a month, Junior Huntley, he sometimes is on wild escapades, wanted to own an island in Polito. He approached Princess. She demanded $12 million. He said, I don't have that kind of money. He contacted me. I said, if you want to use the island, you can use it. It's fucking public space. She can't sell that shit, number one, even though she claims she does. It's whether it's the Lighthouse House or whether it's like Patches and Chiliad, you can't. There's no state law that allows it. They own everything unless explicitly purchased via the feds.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask
Yep.
you. My understanding is the islands off the coast are state land unless explicitly stated. Is that your interpretation?
Everything is.
Yeah, but specifically the islands is what I'm referring to in this instance.
But she said 10 million. She then tried to strong arm him to say that he's going to get arrested if he uses it. Right? And so Junior goes and starts the whole Berry Island event shit. And given the back and forth with Princess, he twatted out a photo. He probably still has it. And it kind of calls her out on it. That was sent out during our DOJ meeting. And she starts complaining about it in there. And someone says, oh, isn't that one of your guys? I'm like, listen, whatever Junior does in his privacy, that's his. It's nothing to do with the office. Right? And goes, yeah, I can't believe he's doing this. I tried to offer him a good deal. I originally said 12 million and I brought it down to 8 million. I was trying to do him a favor. And I go, Princess, Junior doesn't have money like that. And goes, sure he does. He owns an investment company. And I said, okay, but this is San Andreas. Investment companies don't make money. And it's pretty much a charity where he just assists people with his businesses. And she goes, well, neither does Treepass. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she goes, well, they don't have money either. And I sold them a gas station. This was heard by me.
She referred to it as Treepass, not just her
Correct.
boyfriend, but actually, okay.
So it wasn't even her boyfriend. She sold it to her boyfriend on behalf of a gang. So this was heard by me. It was heard by Faulkner, by Sean, and by what's her name? Samahed. Perry Watson.
Perry, yeah.
All right. Now, kind of a off the topic of property for a second. Well, real property. If you as a mayor needed a vehicle to drive around your county, so you need a vehicle to get around Los Santos, right?
I'm sorry?
You need a vehicle to drive around Los Santos, correct?
Wait, so ask the question again. I'm missing the...
Do
I drive
it's
a
going to be like a
vehicle around?
multi-question thing. Yeah. Do you need one as a mayor to drive around Los Santos?
No, maybe.
Okay.
I don't
if
think you do.
Did, would you pay for it or would the county pay for it?
I have purchased cars for myself. I mean, you could in theory, like, I don't, it's, you could justify
like through
it.
the county account or through your
It
account?
depends, right? Like if it's like bulletproof or some shit. But generally, no, you should be buying
what
it for
about
yourself.
like Pegassi Terroso with stage 3 parts and off-road tires?
Unnecessary.
Okay. One last question I have for you, unless you have anything else to add, is if you were getting ready to propose a piece of legislation, right? And you haven't actually put it up on the City Hall website yet. Would you start signing contracts related to that legislation before even posting it?
You can't.
Huh.
How are you going to sign a contract for something that doesn't exist?
You know,
Huh.
it's a great question, Nino, and I was not expecting you to have the answer to that.
Yeah.
And I lied. I'm sorry. I do have one more question. Are you familiar with any program or legislation in Blaine County referred to as BBL?
That sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard about it, but
Okay, but it's not something like of some kind of program, legislation that would allow the mayor of the North to purchase buildings and do nothing with them.
I don't know. It's very open ended.
Yeah, I get that. Doc, Opal, anyone else have any other questions?
I don't know.
Or anything? Oh,
No, that was me thinking out loud. Sorry. I probably have one, but it's so inappropriate I can't ask it.
Ooh.
No, you can ask.
Sounds about right for you, Opal.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't given the context.
No,
I'll
go ahead.
ask
Come
it-
on.
No,
Do it, pussy.
I'll ask it when we're. Did you call your significant other a sugar butt?
I knew that was going to be the question.
Would I? Sugar butt?
Sugar butt. Yeah, what you think of that nickname?
That's kind of, I don't know. It doesn't really hit, to be honest.
What about Pico de Gallo?
Pico de Gallo? Sounds like a
My
like
Pico
a
de
like
Gallo.
a small penis or something. What the fuck?
What the?
Oh.
Okay. All
Because Pico de
What
Gallo
about-
is like a little
what
bean,
about-
isn't it? Like it's like I'm thinking like if someone said Pico de Gallo, you're talking about someone's like little penis. Like
What
Actually
about
can
the
see that, not gonna
guacamole
lie.
to my chip? Yeah, the
Okay, do we have
guacamole
any other
to my
questions
chip.
pertaining to what we're talking about here?
Do you have anything
I
else
think
you'd like
I
to add?
think we're. I don't.
So like this has been noted a couple times, and I want to sort of underline this because I know the focus right now is kind of on Princess, and understandably. For me, the reason that I brought this up, and I think I've spoken to Maxwell and Turner about this, is this for me is like this should have been something that should have been looked into by Blaine County Sheriff's Office. The fact that they're seemingly unaware and uninterested is in and of itself concerning. Has she done things that are corrupt and criminal? Sure. I think, whether or not the investigation leads to enough to press charges, it's rather obvious. The sheriff, the high command over there, the command members, they know how much is in that account. To believe that they don't is copium. To think that they wouldn't have asked these questions and not seen these things in front of them is copium. It's sad, it's pathetic that they haven't contemplated looking into these matters before I had to bring it up a number of times. And this is not just about Princess, but rather my disposition that when something can happen so flagrantly by the head of a county, then what else is being left on the table, right?
I have a quick question for you based off of that.
Sure.
When a command member goes to the bank,
They do not see
Are
it,
they-
no.
okay, all right, thank you.
But as a a functional adult who is at the top of a law enforcement agency, you are going to observe things. Like, I don't know, a gas station next to your building that is now being, where you have, that used to be owned by one crew and now 3 posses running around. When conversations about budget comes out and there's no money. When you walk into a castle and know damn well it's worth $8.5 million because it's all over Twitter, right? Those are, this is San Andreas. You can come up with an excuse for everything, right? But,
Fair enough. I have nothing else for you. I definitely appreciate it. My only other question would be, if this investigation does go to court, would you be willing to be a witness?
it depends on the questions that were asked, right?
Pretty similar to what was asked today.
It depends. I need to know what. And
Okay.
it would
Fair
behoove
enough.
you to have those questions prepared and then see what I'd be willing to give. Because
Oh,
I have
yeah,
to
we'll
look
take
after,
that.
my safety of others, right? It becomes a
Absolutely.
however, I would suggest that I don't think you need me, right? Because at the end of the day, everything that I provide you is hearsay, right? In the eyes of the law. What isn't are the twats. What isn't are the financial records. What isn't what you probably have seen in her phone subpoenas, or the ones of associated members of the League of Evil. Those are the things that are going to get you the convictions, right?
You're not wrong, but there's also, benefit to backing those things up with someone who has knowledge, and additionally having a essentially an expert in county government testify.
So here's a problem, and I see the angle you're going on alongside, the question about, would you consider this a blah, 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 or this a blah. The problem is that that's a very subjective line of questioning, since the legality formally and squarely lands on the legislation that is written, and our legislation is very different. So if we were to take, for example, the car question you brought into play, you could very much make my opinion on the matter holds zero weight. It should be whether or not she is authorized to be doing that kind of expenditure.
Well, yeah, that is part of it as well. But additionally, I mean, you managing a larger county budget have an opinion on whether or not certain expenditures, even if they are legal, would be considered reasonable or careless.
Very subjective. Listen, I'm down. I just don't think that's a good play. I think you also need to consider that that the degeneracy that exists in Blaine County mostly uses reductionist arguments to counter my points by saying, well, Nino just hates Blaine County. Not the fact that they're corrupt pieces of shit. Not the fact that one of the heads of that department has his wife clean money for him. Not the fact that there's literal blatant leaks coming out of that department going all the way back to the Hydra raid. And so by putting me on that stand, you might actually be hurting yourself, including in the eyes of a judge, because a lot of that copium still exists, right? Ad hominems are very powerful in court.
Well, there's always the possibility that there's a difference between criminal and, a civil matter as well.
True. My point is, you want to be careful that the
You're
judge
right
doesn't think that, oh, Nino's here. He told the PD to do this, and the proof is that he took the stand. Even though it's a courtroom, politics are a big part of this.
Fair point. I will definitely consider that. I appreciate your time, Nino.
Yep, absolutely.